Welcome back to the LCS Proving Grounds here. I'm Azel, joined by Joshi Desrex yet again, and we got some queue time before we get to game number 4 of the series between Team Liquid Honda Academy and Immortals Progressive Academy. And for the queue time, since we didn't get to do it for last game, now we get to have a little bit of fun with Would You Rather. So I have chosen 3 clips from the game before, and I have chosen 2 players from these clips to represent who you would rather be before going into the clip, before going into the play. Now, huge shout out to Kelsey for choosing out some of these. So let's go ahead and bring up the first clip here. Now, in this moment,
I want to be triple.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work, Joshi. Nobody knows what you're talking about.
But you do.
I do. So in this moment, would you rather be Chad or Harry? You must choose.
Chad or Harry?
Chad or Harry? Chad
Now, I
or
obviously know
Harry?
how the play actually shaped down. And I think I would actually prefer to be Chad. Mostly because as Chad, you make the decision about what happens here, right? Harry is very reactive, so he's not a character that can oftentimes make his own plays very proactively, but Vi absolutely is.
Okay, that's right. What do you got?
Let's get spicy, you know? We could do the whole analytics and everything. I'm just looking at the map. I'm going to look at this without thinking of it playing out. I'm going to say Harry.
Okay.
Why? Because he's not going to die. He gets to watch his
He's got
bot
a
lane.
sick accent.
He gets to watch his bot lane fall and then could just blame them at the end of the day. Be like,
Is that what you're going to do? All right, let's go ahead and play the clip. We got opposing sides. And let's see who would win out in the Would You Rather Be kind of scenario here. So again, you were saying you'd rather be Chad because he gets to dictate the
he gets to decide whether or not this play happens, right? As soon as he sees Harry, I simply would not, right? But that's kind of the player I am. I'm the kind of player who won't try and make these things happen. It actually looks like Joey was the player who tried to make things happen. And as Chad, you're just like, here we go! And he just goes directly to his death.
You chose wrong. You chose wrong. I'm just joking. Hey, he at least got to decide how he died. There you go. That's the decision making. But I think, in the end of it all, it's a little bit of a back and forth and a little bit of mispositioning, I feel like, for Immortals. But yeah, honestly, I'm just proud to see, the likes of Harry step up at a kind of moment like this, especially after the couple games we had already seen from him. So nice little choice on Harry. There you go. You got a point, Desrex. I know you were giving out points on the newly duo. Maybe correlate those two together now.
Well, I'll take my point. Take my banana sticker.
I'm not taking those banana stickers. So we have our second clip here. Now, in this one, would you
some weird
rather
tension going on here, you guys.
Arrow or Jan in this kind of moment? So who would you rather be? They aren't even on our screen yet.
They aren't.
No. So give you a little bit to think about.
I think, again, in general, I prefer to have agency, right? I prefer to choose what is going to happen. And as Xayah, you don't have a lot of choices to make. You just generally react to everything that's going on around you. And so for that reason, I'm going to choose to be Arrow.
All right. Desrex, are you coinciding with that, or are you rebelling?
No!
Rebelling.
Jan has a serrated Dirk. That's all the agency I need. I vote Jan.
All right, let's go ahead and play the clip. Let's see who you would rather be in this moment. Very interesting, pathways to the decision making here, but
he has knife.
That's why.
That's why I play by play, Josh. You know this.
I mean, the biggest thing here, right, is you get to watch how Arrow can choose to go in or not, whereas Jan is just very much like, well, I'm going to try and do as much damage as I can while going backwards, but Aphilas can always just go with that whoa, and blow up everybody.
Man, I need a sound effect reel from Joshi here. All right, well, hey, in that situation, like the decision making for both of you. Okay, I'm not giving any points out for that one. But in our last one, we have one more clip left, and in this one, would you rather be Armeo or Pretty? I know Pretty has been a good answer in the past, Joshi. I know it's something you've gone to as well as Triple. But let's erase all the past, erase everything, take off the chains. Who would you rather be, Armeo or Pretty?
I'm going first every single time, so Eric can just say the opposite of whatever I say.
I'm giving Eric a moment to not let you down and to show the synergy, but he just hasn't. So honestly, it's on him.
I think I would actually prefer to be pretty right now, right? You've already got the 3 kills coming through. You have a little bit more control, but the biggest roadblock that you have is Armeo, and it's not the worst thing ever if you just hit him. So even in the worst case scenarios where you're hitting the front line, pretty is still pretty okay.
Yeah, Desrex, who you got?
I'm still against Josh. Armeo. Steadfast presence. Spirit
right.
rush. Yeah,
Whatever.
rock beats paper.
Synergies be darned. And we'll go ahead and play this clip and see who you'd rather be. Again, it was Armeo or Pretty in this kind of situation. And
Eric is
Desrex,
just steadfastly present against me, I suppose.
Yeah, he really is.
I found out secondhand your middle name was Nicholas, and I'm very mad about that.
Second hand, you say?
Why is that upsetting to you?
Oh, no.
It's 2019. We've been together, Josh.
What?
We need a 1v1 series.
This is my middle name? What's your middle name?
Anthony.
All right, well, now we know.
All right. Well,
if you're just gonna dodge me like that, it's gonna right back at you.
Yeah, you know what?
Oh, wait, also that's why I want to be pretty, because I kill Harry at the end of that play.
Yeah, I would rather be pretty in that situation. I don't know about you.
I'd rather
also,
be beautiful.
You get to say, I was just about to make a pun. Come on, you took it out from underneath my feet. You swept me off my pretty swell there, man. Pretty swell.
There's still a lot of weird tension going on here if you're sweeping.
Yeah, there really is, especially with you in the middle of it. And I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. You're blocking us. The synergy between you guys is not there. No, I'm just joking. It's been really fun to watch the game so far. We'll see if Team Liquid Honda Academy can bring us to Silver Scrapes. Champ Select is ready to go, so guys, take it away.
All right, thank you, Mazel. In game number 4, in a situation we didn't think we were going to be in, right? Immortals Progressive currently have match point, but Team Liquid have now started to come back. It was off of the draft. They stopped letting Immortals getting Poppy, and that's still going to be the trend as Poppy and Talia going to be banned away.
Yes, let's go. Taking away the Poppy from the side of Team Liquid, but the Yuumi has been the other thing that they've been banning going up against Pretty, right? They were switching off with the Talia and the Azir as to what they wanted Harry to get first pick, but the Yuumi was the third ban. You're saying it's giving them some pause. Do they want to ban it away here? Do they think it's that much of an issue? And the answer is yes. We still can't afford to give Joy the Yuumi at this point in the tournament. And now with Pretty, he has 2 champions he loves playing. It's the Talia and the Azir. He's going for the one that is still up. And it's a bit of a difference, right, from the way that we were seeing Pretty play earlier in the season. He was oftentimes a player who would be the person who got R5 counter pick, some of the last champions that you were actually going to select, so that you counter pick the entire enemy team. But because his champions are so strong, he's super down to just grab them.
Yeah, Azir is just way too strong to pass up right now, so easy first pick coming out of Immortals. Team Liquid, they're gonna grab some of the hotness that we've seen work before. The Wukong has been that rather standard jungler to have for this current split ever since the Dirty Ability patch came up. And it's just been so good at facilitating both early game, especially when he gets Divine Sunderer, as well as the Cyclone and what it's able to do for the mid-game team fights. But this is an interesting response coming out of Chad. We do know he does like to play Trundle. It's something that both him and Armeo share a lot in their champion pool. That is going to be the lock-in for Immortals.
And I also think back to when they were playing in the Spring Proving Grounds, playing up against 100 Thieves. Chad and Kenby were having this constant battle as to which one was getting Viego and which one's going to be getting Lee Sin. And I was expecting Chad to be going with the Viego here. It is the classic counterpick going up against the Wukong, but instead presenting this massive frontline problem that Team Liquid is going to have to try and bust through. But it's already letting Team Liquid know, hey, you need to find tank busters on your team. And so with the Lulu already snapped up, I'm curious what Team Liquid are actually going to be going for here. There's not as many tank busters that are still super popular in the meta at the moment. The first one that kind of comes to mind for me is still Kog'Maw, but I don't know if I've seen Jan play that at all.
No, I believe the only time we saw Kog'Maw, and I could be corrected on this, was King, somewhere around the start of the split. Only one willing to play it around the start of the durability patch, back when we thought Kog'Maw and Lilia would pretty much take over the rest of the scene. Still looking at the picks that are going through. Now, Team Liquid Honda, now that they have their support pick locked in with that Lulu, providing that protection, that utility, they're going to start banning away the supports and utility from Immortals Progressive as they take away the Nautilus.
Yeah, there's already plenty of engage coming through from Immortals, right? You already have the Ord ultimate, you have the Shuriken Shuffle from Pretty, and so it's on Immortals to draft a little bit more damage in order to try and make sure that they can punch through the Lulu and actually take down whatever it is that Yan chooses to play. I'm almost wondering, this is a Zeri pick coming through, right? Whenever I think of that's looking like either a Twitch or a Zeri coming through for Yan right now, and Immortals has to pick which one they would rather deal with, but you know, we looked at it with Steve's video when he was looking at how Yan was one of our most valuable prospect candidates. He was so good. He was the original Zeri player, and now we haven't been seeing it a whole lot recently.
No, we haven't. In Proving Grounds itself, hasn't played it whatsoever. In Academy, it was one of his most played champions alongside the Ezreal. Was so good at it. Teams would constantly ban out the Zeri in specific to make sure they weren't going to get that combo for Team Liquid. So with those bans coming out, Draven also going to be banned away, targeting over for Arrow, who definitely loves that spicy pick. Sivir banned away as well, leaving not too much left on the table for the marksman pool. So instead, Team Liquid going to forego that for a solo lane. Ooh, the Shyvana of Bradley. All right, lock in.
This is something that has been relatively new to add to the pool of Bradley, right? He was playing a lot more these champions that could just be a little bit more self-sufficient, but now as he is going for the Shyvana, this champion is a little bit of an interesting pick right now, right? I would have liked the Aatrox, whose tankiness relies less on his base stats and more on his sustain, going up against both the Trundle and the Ornn. You have multiple targets that you can actually hit. The Shyvana relies more on the base stat to actually try and be strong, and Trundle can take away a lot of those. You are creating two different champions that you have to try and deal with that you will have to ult between the Wukong and the Shyvana, but it's not the worst thing ever. You already have an Ornn, you already have a strong front line. It's not as though you're going to be worried too much about your tanks getting busted down super quickly. And Immortals going over with the Aphelos, and it's actually going to be the Thresh coming through. I know a lot of supporters have complained that this champion sucks right now.
Yeah, not something played too often. Interesting to see this grab. There were still other supports left on the table. The Tahm Kench is the first one that comes to mind.
That was my thought,
Like if you want to protect Arrow here, but no, instead, Immortals Progressive just straight for the Thresh onto this one, and this does leave the final pick over to Team Liquid Honda. They already grabbed their support from earlier, so now it's just the Marksman, and it's that Zeri we've been hyping up on the table. Last pick for TLA.
So as we see this coming through, it's a little bit of an odd style coming through from Team Liquid, right? I don't think that this draft is nearly as criticism worthy as some of the ones we saw earlier in this series, but you have two very different styles of team fight that you want to take. Zeri doesn't like fast team fights. Zeri really relies on having time to ramp up with that ultimate in order to deal as much damage as possible. And going up against Trundle and Ornn, it takes a long time for Zeri to actually try and kill these champions until you're on at least Infinity Edge. And so Team Liquid, you know, they're looking at Harry and Armeo to get quick fights going to take down Pretty and Arrow, but Yan is also at the same time a little bit of that insurance, trying to build up and ramp up over these long team fights, whereas Immortals, they go forward. They go brrr. They always want to just try and take a very straightforward team fight and not allow Team Liquid to really pick them apart.
I like that. Immortals go brr, but hey, that's what we've seen from Immortals throughout the regular season. I want to say the difference that we've seen from Immortals in the regular season, where it was just pure hands check, to the Immortals that we're seeing now in Proving Grounds, where they're actually taking a lot of strategic positions. It's been a complete flip. It's been a joy to see. We're going to see more of it right now as the next game now ready. Immortals Progressive Academy, Team Liquid Honda. Match point still for Immortals, as Team Liquid were able to start the comeback in that game 3.
And I always like to talk about this. This is something that Jad used to talk about all the time. If you're going to stop a reverse sweep, it almost always happens in game 4. If you go down 2 wins back to back, it is so difficult to win game 5 in those situations. You're oftentimes a little bit shaky. You're not necessarily thinking quite as clearly. You're tired, and so momentum matters a whole lot more towards the end of the series. And so Team Liquid, as they start looking at this, we have to remember that this is a team that has played more best of 5s as a group of 5 players than this Immortals roster has. Team Liquid has played those stage games, and Spawn was already talking about how when he was looking at Ayla's growth as a player, he really values, especially in these long best of 5s during these playoffs games, that experience in order to make sure that you can stay steady the entire time.
Lands in the past for Amateur, specifically Amateur, I want to jump on that for the stage experience specifically, is we've seen so many teams that show up offline and do incredibly well. then when they have to show up on stage, it is a completely different experience. It is something that you have to adjust to and have to adapt to. So it definitely is a lot of respect for Team Liquid Academy to already have that, to be able to perform both on stage and off the stage. Now, time's getting even bigger to be able to show up with that performance. Taking a look at where these junglers are starting, Chad's going spicy right here. Starting off his red buff, gonna loop around just to the golems. Was looking for something cheeky with Joey now that he has that Thresh.
Yeah, I wasn't necessarily expecting a whole lot to happen right off the bat, but this matchup in the top lane is also going to be one that is going to be just kind of back and forth. Shyvana doesn't have a ton of threat before you actually get level 6, but with the Ghost, you will have opportunities to be very aggressive later on.
Even without getting a level lead, Joey just walks up and plays right away.
Yeah.
Arrow and Joey.
One of the big problems that a lot of people have had with Thresh, and why I've said a lot of support is just like, please, I don't want to play this character. Even people who I know have played a ton of Thresh historically, they just look at this and it's like, you just don't have stats, right? You just die a lot of the time. And so this Thresh, relatively squishy, we saw it trying to take a trade, ends up taking more of his HP and being forced to chug through several potions in order to try and make anything happen on the map. And while you will have a little bit more opportunity to be aggressive because your auto attacks hurt based on the number of souls you've already picked up, you kind of fall behind relatively quickly unless you're consistently pushing forward and getting as many souls as possible.
I'm wondering if it's a response directly to the Zeri itself, if they were anticipating this to go through, because, I mean, you can play. Death Sentence is there. The box is there as well, so there's a lot of tools that Thresh really has to try and counter this Zeri. Now Chad, he's back to his old self, Josh. It's an invade. Game 4 is what it took to finally get Chad to invade.
He ends up getting, I think he got like a wolf. I think he got the big wolf, then he got like a small wolf as well. So he upsets like Armeo's timing a little bit, but it ends up not getting him a whole lot more beyond that. He will slow down Armeo, and it allows Vital some time to throw down some wards. What?
Are you telling me you wouldn't be happy if you got a doggo and a pupper?
I can't have them in my apartment, Eric. I wouldn't know what to do with them.
I feel so bad for you, and unfortunately Chad does too, because that is what he got. He even got a pet crab on top of that.
Yeah.
Catch them all.
You have some interesting pet choices coming through here, Eric. But
what? You don't like doggos?
I don't want a crab.
Why not?
Unless I was gonna eat it. I don't know.
That's the point. Yeah, you raise it. I don't know where your food comes
You're gonna
from.
raise your pets and then eat them. All right, we're gonna have a different talk about that. But Team Liquid right now. So far, not a whole lot has happened. The lanes are remaining fairly even across the board. But one of the big things that we are excited about is the fact that Vital isn't already falling behind, right? So far, we have been seeing Bradley have some pretty big opportunities to get freezes going up against Vital at this point. But because he's on the Shyvana, Vital's doing a good job making sure that Bradley is being forced to stay in lane to try and get this wave to crash.
And those freezes hit like a truck. I mean, for Vital, who wants to walk out there, he can get punished very, very easily. And especially if you overextend, Armeo will respond to that lane. Armeo will show up. He plays to where the weaknesses are of the other team and will exploit that completely. Vital will be on the back foot for the most of this, but at least he's on the proper champion for it. Ornn will still be, for the most part, effective, as a nice little freeze here coming from Vital will pull that caster creep away, wave away, to make sure it's not going to get hit by the tower.
Pretty perspective top laner is what Vital's doing there, right? He walks right on over to those blue flowers next to the torch. That's generally going to be your spot where if you stand there, you will hold minions outside of the range. And because they're caster minions, they're not melee minions, they won't be walking underneath the turret. And so he's doing a good job making sure that these minions never get underneath the turret. And he's creating situations where Bradley can be under threat.
Oh, Joey with the deep invade onto Armeo. Chad is there, but bot lane of Team Liquid Academy Honda, they're a little bit faster. Yeah, I said it a little bit backwards there.
Academy Honda.
Academy Honda.
There we go. It's
Honda
okay.
Academy.
It's been a long time. It has been, well, because we had the podcast, because we were so interested in hearing our own voices, and we wanted to not let Twitch chat actually watch any of the gameplay. That is still a long time as well. But Team Liquid, we're looking for other opportunities to get into the game, and just as we were looking for IMT to really skyrocket in previous games around the 1 item mark, this is the same time coming through for Team Liquid. Mark really loves talking about how Wukong really takes off when you start getting towards that level 6, when you have access to that ultimate in order to get all these fights started. And so, We're still waiting for Team Liquid to kind of come into their own. They know that they can take this game a little bit slower if they want to, but it's also Team Liquid. Team Liquid is a team that when they are playing their best, Jan already has 3 kills.
Now with this Shyvana, Bradley has only played this twice in the season, but each time it's been victorious so far. 11.0 KDA on it. Just wanted to look into that a little bit because, you know, it is a little bit of an off pick we don't see a little bit too often, and Bradley has absolutely shined on it. He has one of the biggest champion pulls. I remember we were talking about that before, Josh.
Yeah, we'll look at that a bit more as Armeo encountering Chad yet again as Chad goes into the jungle. Thanks for the leash. He took a long time. He might actually be in trouble now. There's no flash. Okay, they don't engage. All right. Yeah, Bradley has been one of these players. Also, Harry, who have played some of the most unique champions in the regular season of summer. They have had so many different characters that they have been willing to play, and this is just a poke ultimate more than anything. Vital will be able to walk out of that, but he's taking so much damage that it will force Vital to allow Bradley to actually get a crash off here.
Yeah, Bradley shoving in the wave will clear out that final one, and Vital shouldn't be able to be in the same situation he was before, where he can pull the wave to the side and just stop the freeze right there. It's going to be forced to crash into this tower this time. Bodes very well for Bradley, who will be able to get a reset without losing too much.
Yeah, it's been honestly the quietest game that we've been seeing between Immortals and Team Liquid thus far, and it is one of the most valuable dragons, so I'm a little bit surprised that we haven't seen another attempt come out, but Jan is already level 6, has the Berserker's Greaves. He will be doing not that much damage just quite yet, but still obnoxious to deal with because of how fast he's actually going to be. And look at this, Vital, as he is forced to go down towards the actual fruit, will be in an awkward position, and Bradley, this is how he starts to build up a lot of his advantages.
Here we go, flash available. As Jan, not going to burn it just yet. Out comes the pillar, now forced to burn it, but there is the hook from Joey. Kill going over to Chad as Immortal started up in the bot lane once again.
The Herald getting picked up by Team Liquid, but there you go. Arrow and Joey doing a fantastic job. Joey in particular preventing Jan from actually using the dash. Because the dash is so slow, it means that it is reactable by Joey. He ends up getting the flay, he ends up pulling him back. Jan has to use the dash and the flash and the cleanse and will still go down. The patience Joey is showing in order to pick up that kill was fantastic.
And the reward will be the first Drake of the game for Chad. A good response out of Armeo, though. Goes straight over to that Rift Herald. A little bit of shielding needed as Chad runs low. And we'll be able to secure that. Even if his bot side is suffering, that Rift Herald is still a bag of coins just waiting to be cashed in while these turret plates are up. So we can look to enable some of these other lanes.
We'll take another look at it again, right? Jan is looking for opportunities to actually use his E, but he never finds an opportunity to do so. He ends up being forced to use everything in order to just get over the pillar. And Joey, he's waiting this entire time. He's waiting for Jan to throw out the flash, to throw out the E so that he can interrupt all of it. And we love seeing that coming out from our players, using their abilities at the right time instead of as soon as they come off cooldown. And already, Mortals find themselves in a small lead at this point in the game, but here's the counterpunch coming from Team Liquid. 4 plates going to get picked up for Armeo and Jan.
Now, all these plates going to be cashed in. I mean, you just lost a little bit for Jan right there. He was struggling with that kill that went over, so Armeo quickly goes to that bot lane and says, hey, don't worry, I got you covered, you're fine. We'll put in that Rift Herald over in the bottom lane. Jan still netting that golden. Armeo just hovering around to make sure that his ADC is truly going to be fine.
And they are going to be all right. He can go right on back and help out Harry with the blue buff. There you go. Very efficient pathing coming out from Armeo at this point. Yeah. I mean, Armeo has been one of these players that you already talked about since this time back on TSM when he was still Greg. We've been seeing this player consistently kind of be on that cusp where we know he's good enough to play LCS. We know that he's not going to make a fool of himself there, but a lot of teams are still looking for something else. They're not necessarily providing the same kind of control jungling that he can do.
Jan getting interrupted. But yeah, as you said, for Armeo, quite the play for him. Now Vital looking to hop onto Bradley, has pretty over the wall, but doesn't want to contest with that. Now,
I mean, he doesn't want to go that far forward, right? It's
Yeah,
such
yeah.
a long distance for the Sand Soldiers to actually get to, and eventually you just kind of zap them with the laser. It's not going to be nearly as effective as the soldiers with their spear, but Team Liquid now rotating around both sides, actually starting to contest towards the top side of the map because the Rift Herald will be spawning reasonably soon, and Harry can choose to pick up a teleport if he so desires. And it does mean that because Team Liquid are a little bit faster to the play, they're going to be a little bit more accurate.
Oh, here we go. Pretty shows up the flay mid-air, but Jan makes distance. Joey catches him out, and just like that,
Joey.
Jan, death number 2. Immortals 2 up early.
And there you go. Let's go, Joey. Once again, finds his opportunity to come back in, and Flash Hook actually picks up Jan yet again. I thought Team Liquid were going to be a little bit better here, as they are going to be getting the turret. They get a little bit more farm across the board, but IMT going to be grabbing a ton of kills.
Spirit Rush goes out. Now walking over to Arrow. Nice flash coming out of Harry. Will use that last Spirit Rush to get over the wall, so will not fall. Still going to stay alive. Gets that turret all to himself. A lot of gold going over to Harry.
Yeah, Team Liquid actually picking up a decent amount of gold, right? This is classic Team Liquid. They are even or down in kills, but still ahead in money. And great play coming through from IMT, trying to make sure that they can attack Jan while his flash is down. And Joey, even with all the movement speed that Jan has picked up at this point, not going to be enough to try and dodge.
This is such a nasty combo. This Thresh and Trundle together is a nightmare for Jan to have to deal with. There's so much he has to get around, and even the slow of the pillar itself sets up Joey so well to land these death sentences. This Thresh pick, it might not be the best thing in the meta right now, but it certainly is looking like the best thing for this game.
Oh, for sure. Joey's been playing it fantastic, and if you land all your abilities, Thresh is still a great support. But Team Liquid, they are still kind of in the driver's seat, and we've seen this in both games 1 and 2. Team Liquid will slowly build up these incremental leads, and they'll oftentimes lose them. It has been Immortals who have been better at making these mid-game plans thus far. And Team Liquid, as I start to take control around this upcoming Dragon, I'm curious if IMT actually want to try and contest them. It looks as though they will try to, as Pretty does teleport towards the bottom side. Lots of players on both teams already on their Mythic, but I really like Armeo and Harry now that they are on the Divine Sunder and the Everfrost. They can lock down a single target and kill it fairly quickly.
Team Liquid inside track. Oh, look at this. It's not the Dragon that's going to be the priority. It will be Pretty. Pretty doesn't have flash, so there's no way for him to get out. Emperor's Divide comes out, but the charm pulls him right back in. A kill coming out for Team Liquid in the bottom lane with 15 seconds left on the Drake timer.
And only one ultimate committed for that. Well, a couple of flashes as well, but that means that they can go and actually take this fight right away. Pretty with no teleport, Pretty with no HP will still be dead. And Team Liquid, the rotation from Bradley was fantastic as well, making sure he can prevent the push coming in from the rest of IMT as Team Liquid find themselves another objective and slow down IMT's Dragon Stack.
That was supposed to be a setup for Pretty. Exploited completely by Team Liquid at a good time. You get the Dragon, and Rift Herald is still spawning. It's going to be a little bit more before it's on the table. So Immortals, they can't just say, hey, you're taking one objective, we'll mirror it on the map. They're forced to take a red buff. They're forced to take jungle creeps in order to get something back.
And here we go, Jan already on the Immortal Shield Bow as they come back onto the map. Now, Arrow does do more damage at this point. Remember, he's still up 30 CS. Multiple of those kills were taking down Jan, but Jan is slowly ramping up back into this game. We saw him find his footing in Game 3. Now he needs to make sure he can showcase a couple more of those montage plays that we saw previously, and he's already with the rest of the team, but that leaves Vital down the far side of the map, all by his lonesome. He will continue to equalize with Bradley, and of course, Warren, so strong later on in the game. Every time you build an item, you get an extra percentage amount of tankiness.
Immortals, they might challenge this. Yeah, teleport coming out. They're looking for it. Out comes the pillar. Chad has to back up. Didn't take too much damage, but does fall to half health. Call to Fortune not going to be used. Immortals are looking for the play. Able to get the Dragon's Descent. Bradley will get right back out. The hook that went through, but ultimate going to be channeled out of Arrow. Poking away at the health bars of Team Liquid, but nothing too aggressive to get through and actually take a fight.
Only one ultimate committed by Team Liquid, and it is Bradley's. It's a relatively short cooldown, and you lower it every single time just by hitting things. So Team Liquid not having to use a whole lot, and Immortals committing a lot of resources to try and take a fight that never materializes. Team Liquid, that gives them another window coming up fairly soon, right? Where Vital and Pretty won't be able to react to anything. But by the time the next dragon actually spawns, I think Vital's ultimate or teleport will be just backed up.
Now Pretty putting pressure onto this top side while Bradley shows up. Try and handle. You still have Joey coming up here as well. Bradley's running lower and lower. So he will have to take a recall to make sure he's going to be A-okay. Joey's not going to contest too much over there. Now for Immortals, they are kind of losing out here very slowly by a lot of the gold generation we've seen from Team Liquid thus far. Who needs to make the play is going to be the big question for me.
I mean, that's the thing about Immortals' team composition is I think they can play it fairly straightforward. You can just have your tanks run up first, and now here comes Joey. He's had a couple good hooks thus far, and not going to be able to make this play actually happen. And as they start to back away, Bradley going down in the bottom lane.
Oh yeah, getting a tower, Vital. It might be a silver lining though, because Bradley's chasing him down. Flash available for Vital, gets over the wall, so he will still be able to escape with his life. And at a good time, it seemed like Team Liquid were responding to that escape that Vital was trying to make. As they move away from that mid lane, kind of hover right back into it as Vital gets away.
Yeah, good stuff coming out from Vital. I mean, it was forcing a flash by Bradley. He knew by hitting the ghost, it's like, all right, Vital, you need to commit your flash or to get out from this one. And so, feels, again, as though this game relatively calm. This is the lowest kill count we've seen from any of the games in this series. Now Armeo for the first time invading.
Invading right back. A simple thwack! And that Gromp belongs to Armeo. Now control established. Team Liquid looking, you know, it might be a kill deficit, but they're looking great right now. They have total map control coming out from every single end. Mid, bot, top, all included. And now with the mid lane tower going down, bot lane tower going down, they have great control of the map towards that side. Looking to extend that over towards the top side where Chad might look for a contest right here, but Jan is waiting on the flank. Armeo jumping in. Doesn't go for the Cyclone just yet. Fight over the blue buff extending as Sean's going to go through. And there it is, the Cyclone used. Chad looking to get out of this. Front line starting to get melted for Immortals. Pretty still going to hold the line. Call the Forge God going to be used. Now knock up only onto one. Arrow flashes in, has to back out immediately. And here comes the flank from Bradley. Will chomp down onto Immortals, deleting two of their members and breathes fire onto the third. Vital, there's no escape. Team Liquid in game 2 looking to turn on after a very calm start.
There you go, 4 kills instantly coming through. Team Liquid, this is the skill challenge that they always force people into, and it finally comes through. Bradley with the huge flank, as you called out. Team Liquid taking everything, and now they get to reset with all this gold. They can take another fight. They needed to find opportunities in this mid game before they got outscaled by the Azira and Ornn. They do it at exactly the right time by challenging Chad for his blue buff, and this is where it kind of starts flipping around. Team Liquid, they were struggling not having a no-man before. They were struggling knowing when to back up. But this time, they just go for it. Immortals unsure if this is a committed fight. By the time they actually decide they're able to play it, Arrow on the wrong side has to try and find his way back in. He flashed forward.
Yeah. I think that was the Gale Force forward flash out, was it?
Nah, he flashes forward in order to try and make it happen, has nothing left. It was pretty close for them, honestly, but this is, we don't get to see it. Beyond taking like 3 turret shots, like, hey, can I go through this turret? And the answer is no, but here we go. The choke point, total control.
Total control coming through, call the Forge God onto absolutely nothing. And with that engage tool down, Immortals don't take this. They don't even have the Emperor's Divide. You can see this Drake right over. You have no right taking a fight here.
And yeah, there you go, because Team Liquid are there first because they have so much more money. They just stand up, create space, and there you go. It's another distraction, Carnifex. But the big thing that we got to look at from Bradley, he's already got the Warmogs. He just runs on in.
Bradley, the brave front line, sees no fear when he's in this dragon form. But now there's the pillar. You got to fear a little bit of the damage that can come through from Immortals, but not when you have Armeo on the flank. Great Cyclone stalls onto Joey. Now the punishment coming through from Harry, who dashes forward, takes down Joey, and Team Liquid Honda Academy now sieging up into this bot lane after kill after kill after kill.
I told you, Eric, it was going to be bittersweet no matter what happened, and no matter which team won. I'm so excited to see Team Liquid back in form, but at the same time, I love watching Chad. I love watching Pretty. These guys are some of my favorite players as well. And as things start to crumble around them, at least Pretty's getting a little bit of gold on the far side of the map. But Eric, as we crest a 5,000 gold lead coming in here for Team Liquid, they come back onto the map, and as we get a replay, remember, as long as Bradley doesn't die, he's okay. He's got a War Mouse. He can stay on the map. He only really has one resource, and that's HP, and it just takes so long to actually kill him.
He has so much of it. He is ever so beefy Bradley, holding the front line, jumping. Doesn't matter if there is a turret there because he can absorb all that damage and more and dish it right on back. This is the performance we've been seeing out of Bradley, who holds pretty good CS lead over there. 30 up ahead, 3-0-1 for Bradley.
All right, Eric, you see the items that are in Bradley's inventory? Change back.
Ooh.
There's nothing that pops out at you?
I'm looking at the book, Josh.
No, you're looking at the Spell Thieves.
I'm looking at the Spell Thieves, Josh.
You're looking at the Spell Thieves. This man has picked up
Josh.
Spell Thieves in order to get even more power on the map, right? He gets a little bit of bonus AP, but he also gets the extra gold generation from it. But he only gets the gold generation when he's near other members. And as Harry tries to get a charm onto Chad, ends up going wide. This is wild. I know we've seen a lot of stories or a lot of ideas about how you can get even more gold out of this Spell Thieves. This is the kind of thing where Bradley says, I am already tanky enough, you will never be able to kill me. And eventually, I will be able to put wards down for the rest of my team. This is kind of wild coming through from Bradley.
But he's that far ahead. And Team Liquid are that far ahead as well. Chad flashes out, stays alive, Pretty, over the wall. With these soldiers, we'll get a little bit of poke damage, but it's doing nothing to the armor of Team Liquid, who are able to just walk around the rift and establish control where they want it, when they want it.
Yeah, and there we go. Bradley again picking up another opportunity. This is what the best top players will do when they're in the Academy ecosystem. They will find their leads and they will start taking away jungle camps. And so far, Bradley has consistently built up leads against Vital.
Bless you, bless you.
Thank you. It's okay. The stream didn't hear that, so you just sound like a weirdo.
Oh. Okay.
Wait, he also gets the... Oh my... I didn't even think about this. Because he's got the Spell Thieves, when he hasn't actually, like, completed it, he's getting reduced gold.
No!
Do you think Bradley thinks he has a Dark Seal?
Is that... I wonder now. I
really wonder. Because I think they're the same price. Might be 400. I think it's 400 for the support item. Somebody who's a support can confirm. But either way, he's getting reduced gold at this point. Now Harry.
Yeah. Gonna have to have an update on the gold as this game does go through to see how much that's gonna impact him. I mean, right now it's a very strong gold lead for him. Let's see what that gold lead is right now over on that top side. Right, these two.
Up 2K?
Yeah, 2K. I don't think he's that concerned about his gold being tanked a little bit.
I mean, yeah, it's a lot of gold that you're missing, Eric.
You're just greedy, like, Josh. Capitalism is taking you over.
It's 2/3 of the money, even more than that, right? That's supposed to be what is that? 18?
Who cares when you're rich, Josh? Who cares?
14? That's somewhere in there. I mean, that's like 2/3 of the gold that he's currently missing out on every minion, but he's already coming up. He's pretty strong, and now Immortals. And I'm starting this up. I mean, it was like, no, you're not. Back up, please.
What are you doing there? Nothing, officer, nothing. Bye. We're fine.
Don't worry about it. Oh.
All right, flank coming out. Vital, knock up onto Bradley. Should be able to walk away, clearing away the waves and setting this up for Team Liquid to get control over this topside river. Immortals just shoved back into their base, back into the jungle by this big scary dragon, breathing fire on arrow.
Every time I see Bradley like hit a minion and get like +5, I'm like, what's going on? There's a charm.
Oh, charm coming out from Harry. Polymorph goes through. Now call the Forge God. Knock up, only onto one. Our Mayo is going to be A-OK. Half health for most of Immortals. Can't even contest a fight, can't hold a candle to Team Liquid in their current state.
And there we go, Team Liquid going to be moving over to the Mountain Dragon here as well. Remember, Vital has no ultimate for this fight, but Jan does. Jan already has 2.5 items completed. He is well on his way to ripping through all of these tanks, and because they are in such a strong position, Team Liquid are going to be uncontested at this next dragon. And in the Mountain, solves a lot of the problems that they were having with their composition before. Remember that they didn't really have the greatest front line. They were relying on Bradley and Armeo to kind of do it. They were both these off tanks. And finally, see Bradley sell off that Spell Thieves. I think he finally realized, I'm missing out on a little bit too much gold with this item choice that I made.
All right. So you converted him, Josh. I'm angry at you for that one.
Did you want him to not win the game?
I wanted to win, Josh, but we don't have to be a slave to our income.
Game 5.
Gosh. All right. Yeah.
Well,
we're on our track for Game 5. The way Team Liquid's been performing, I don't see this swapping up too much. It would have to be the stall all the way into like 35 minutes, let the gold lead mean nothing, and let the scaling, this late game that you can get with the Ornn, Azir, and Aphelios, but we are so far from that it's not even a real discussion to be had.
Yeah, we're starting to get a little bit closer, right? Vital has given out his first item to somebody else. He is going to be giving Arrow the Typhoon as the upgrade to the Gale Force.
You know the name's nice.
I know some of them, but Team Liquid are also starting to take much more control over this side of the map. They are burning through all the vision that Immortals have set up, and as this becomes more and more of a thing, we keep talking about how difficult it is to face check in Ahri. Harry, one of the players who has consistently done well. This is one of the few times where he's actually not still up in farm. Typically, he receives enough farm that he is able to outpace most other mid laners, but Immortals are one of these teams that actually gives a lot of farm after the laning phase towards their mid laner. They want to make sure that Pretty, this incredibly consistent player, will always be able to do what he needs to carry some of these fights.
He needs to carry, and he needs to carry right now. That is what he needs to do. Big problem here is Team Liquid are just controlling everything. Now Armeo needs to escape the grasp of Joey. Call the Forge God going out into a choke point, but it is denied. Now here's the teleport, and Bradley has arrived. Vital flashing out, now jumping forward is going to be pretty good for the hero play. He can't make it a reality. Team Liquid turn it on to Immortals, and Bradley will walk right into the base. This giant dragon tearing down structures, tearing down health bars, and ripping apart Immortals progressive.
A beautiful counter shot coming through from Harry as soon as Pretty goes in. Harry dives into the backline, resets so many times, and even though he ends up going down for it, it is Team Liquid once again in firm control. They're waiting for their big, beefy dragon to come actually take control and start tanking the dragon, but the Baron, but Team Liquid, watch how Harry plays this as soon as Pretty ends up going in. He bides his time, right? He's waiting. He knows he's not going to be doing the most damage to the front line, even though he's just Ahri, he can get the true damage across. It's all about finding his way into the back. And as soon as Pretty goes, Harry's like, oh, this is my moment. We see all these low health bars. I can hit multiple people every time I press R. Presses it 4 times, gets 12 Firefox bolts off across the entire team, and that rips them to shreds.
So quick that was. Out of nowhere, Team Liquid just popping that engage. And Pretty, I mean, for the situation, yeah, he dived in by himself, but that was really Immortals trying to give their last shot, trying to give the best chance that they have, because they can't wait this out much longer. Team Liquid taking so much of the map, and they're only 1 away from Dragon Soul.
Jan already on 3 items, got the Infinity Edge. He now does real damage to the members of IMT, and they have a Frozen Heart already coming through for Chad, but Chad doesn't want to necessarily be taking these shots, and the crits are coming through from the W.
Jan!
Jan!
Why are you doing that? That was a lot of damage.
Mean.
Very, very mean. All right.
Bradley's going to be able to run out of here, but already Team Liquid with the Baron buff are going to be taking down this structure. Less than a full wave is all that they need. They had 3 minions actually crashing here, and the turret is already down to 1 shot. Bradley in another lane. Remember, he's got the Warmog. As long as he takes a trade and backs up, it will be a winning trade. He's going to have full heal off of it every single time. Vital can't walk up against him at all.
Ticks right there. Couple of seconds away. It'll start ticking up, and now Bradley back to full. Vital, not the case. Comes the cannon minion. Good enough right there for Joey to at least stop that damage going onto the inhibitor. But Bradley has taken your tower, and there's 2 exposed inhibitors you have to defend now.
Yeah, we saw this before when Immortals was able to get both of these. Good clones from Armeo, keeps them alive. But this is what Team Liquid was having done to them earlier in the series. And now, here we go, Armeo.
Stopwatch used by Armeo. Gets away from the Call of the Forge God. Cyclone popped. Joey, wrong place to be. Flay's not enough to save him. Harry takes him down. 4 versus 5 scenario for Immortals. They were off to the races at the start of this series. 2-0 to begin us, looking to take down our defending champions, while the champions snap right back, looking to get 2 consecutive wins of their own and send us to a Game 5.
Taking everything on their way, they will grab this this mountain soul on their way out. There's nothing that IMT can really do to contest them. Chad is already hitting his wolves, and now, we looked at it before, if you're going to stop a reverse sweep, it's supposed to happen in Game 4. Team Liquid going to be going into Game 5 with so much momentum. And the players that we looked at, the players who were so clutch throughout so much of Proving Grounds thus far, we're looking at Chad, we're looking at Joey, we're looking at Pretty, the players who consistently get away with murder every single time. They need to try and find some miraculous fight. They need to find 2 or 3 more to bring back this game, but can they do it in the third one? We've seen that the Poppy, when IMT don't have it, they haven't been able to stand up. The Keeper's Verdict has been so crucial throughout all the games that they've won. And Team Liquid, they figured it out. They're not going to let him have it.
It's as simple as that. Don't let Chad get the Poppy. And now, Team Liquid. So close to closing out this game number 4 and taking us to that Game 5. It's about those final steps. You can see that vision control. You can see just how destroyed the map is for Immortals. There's only one more inhibitor over on this top side. Inner tower defending it. And Team Liquid are making their way into that direction. Wave state's terrible for Immortals.
Yeah. Little bit of pew-pewing, but remember, as long as Bradley doesn't die, he is A-okay, has to ult himself out of there. But again, this ultimate is such a low cooldown for Bradley, and Team Liquid have 2 waves already pushing in. One of them is already in the base with supers. Team Liquid very happy with the position across the board. They're pushing in multiple lanes, and IMT can't defend all of them.
Pushing down the bottom wave. Super minions going into the base. Now they're after Pretty. Call the Forge God going to be used from Vital. Gets the knockup only onto 1. Will land onto Jan, but it never follows a team fight for Immortals. Now Chad going for Armeo. Will get pulled back in with the pillar. Jan holding that front line. Putting in those shots. But Immortals still looking for Jan. Will get the flay onto Jan, but the sidestep from Jan taking the exact right path to make sure he's not caught by the death sentence. Bradley bringing a wave right in from the top. Super minions in the mid, super minions in the bottom, and Team Liquid 1 win away from taking us to a Game 5 and finding the redemption. And with that inhibitor going down, Bradley only a couple more shots from getting double supers in every single wave, in every single lane. Pillar up once again, but there's no engage tools for Immortals. You have to make the play now, and they're making it over in the back line. Teleport going to be used.
Pretty.
Looking for Pretty to be the hero. Looking for Pretty to step up. Can Pretty do it? He has to overcome insurmountable odds. Cyclone goes off, but it's only on to Armeo, and Joey's dead. 5 still strong for Team Liquid Honda Academy. Another collapse on the Pretty, who tries to head for the hills, but is only going to be heading for the gray screen as he gets dropped by Team Liquid. Call the Forge God goes off once again, but 2 down is Immortals. And going to game number 5, Team Liquid Honda Academy. They will not lay down. They will not face defeat. They will take this the distance.
Can't believe it. It took us so long to get here. I was so worried that we were going to have a fast day, but instead, Team Liquid, they pull it back up. They figure out a lot of the things that they were missing. They find their confidence yet again. Jan and Ayla playing forward. Harry looking for his own plays. But this is what we got to look at from Immortals. They need to bounce back. They need to find their confidence. They need to have the, no, screw you, I'm going to hit you right on back attitude that was giving Chad so much power earlier on in the season. I want to see Immortals take this. I want this to be a competitive Game 5. Team Liquid are former Proving Grounds champions versus Immortals. These guys consistently finding their top 4 performances after not necessarily having the expectation set for them. What a Cinderella story it would be for Immortals to actually finally take this down and take down Team Liquid.
All right, Immortals, you have 3 chances, already 2 strikes, 1 more. You got to hit the home run in this Game 5, or otherwise Team Liquid Honda Academy are taking it. We're going to throw it over a short break. When we return, we'll have more of that Game 5, but in the meanwhile, go ahead and enjoy this little segment with Bradley.
I would agree that I am one of the top laners right now in Academy. I think what propelled me up there was First, I think my team is definitely one of the major reasons why, because when you have more experienced players and good players to first initially start out to learn something, they can teach you something faster than what, like decent players will, just because they know like exactly how your role intertwines with theirs and like that kind of thing, and like they know what you should be doing and that kind of thing. So it's really easy for me to kind of like notice what I was doing wrong, just because if I was doing something wrong, they would know as well, and then it was like very easy in review. So that's first, and I definitely think I have a little bit of a coach gap too, so that definitely helped my improvement.